Right. Yeah, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining into today's session with with REVA University School of Architecture. The school is in Bangalore, and and it's very interesting to have the team here from REVA University. I request Miss Vidya Madam to switch her camera on. But before we start, I thought we'd just take you to a quick brief about the school. So, if you want to find out more details about the school, please click on the DQ Edge uh, learning platform. And under the colleges section, you will find Reva School of Architecture. And after this webinar, if you do want to get some information from the school, you can click on the inquire here button and you will get information from there. Uh, but more importantly, the reason why we're doing this series is for each of you. Now, whether you're in the year 2021 or 22 or 23, uh, it's very important that you know the school that you are applying to. It's very important that you need to know who is behind the school, who's driving the school, who's driving the curriculum. And when you know these people, what vision they have for the school, that in turn creates an impact on every student that's studying there, because then you know what you can get from that school and why you should be considering this school for your future. All right. So in this regard, we are very happy to have Professor uh, Vidya Shrikant here along with her team. And I must thank Professor Sanjeev as well for organizing this, because he's been the driving force behind this to make sure this happens. So thank you, Professor Sanjeev, as well. And I do see that there's the rest of the team from REVA who's going to be here and talking about the school. There's going to be a student. So over to you, madam. I've stopped sharing my screen. So thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you so much, Dion. Thank you to DQ Labs for giving us the opportunity today to talk a little bit about REVA University School of Architecture. And we're delighted to be able to connect with the young minds and happy to take questions about what their aspirations are and where they'd like to be. So I'm going to keep it, like a conversation. We just go over some of the key points that we feel really define us as a school, and then we will be open to questions. I'm sure wonderfully moderated by you, so it's going to be an interesting session. So I'm Professor Vidya Shrikant to all the students who have gathered here, and I head the School of Architecture at REVA University. We are located at Yelahanka, Kattiganahalli, and it's a wonderful 43-acre campus that we have over here. And the School of Architecture is well integrated as a program with the 5-year BArch program into the university. We are our own independent university. We are not part of any other university. We are not part of BTU. We are not part of any other university in Karnataka. We are an independent university. So the degree comes out from us. So the degree is awarded by REVA University at the end of the 5 years. So this is the brainchild of Dr. P. Shamaraju, who is part of the real estate giant, the developers, the Divyashree developers, who have been in the business for more than 4 decades, and they've brought, I would say, a change in the architectural grammar of Bangalore, of many cities, of Hyderabad, of Chennai. They do sustainable architecture, which is, the need of the hour. And with the same zeal and zest is what he wanted to start REVA University. And we got our university status in the year 2013. And soon enough, he was very keen to have the flagship program of the BArch, the architecture degree. So we started as a school in 2015. And it's been 6 years now. We have passed out 2 batches. And I must say, the students are doing very well for themselves. So we're going to take you through this journey of the students, and we also have with us my colleague, Dr. Shubhi Sonal, and we also have from our admissions and counseling team, we have a few members here. And we thought we'll keep it, simple, and so that students can relate better. So we have a student representative also, a delightful and wonderful individual, Tanushri Menon, who will be joining us, and students are free to ask questions to her also. So the way it's structured, I'm going to talk about the main really defining or our markers, so to say, that really define us and make us different from any other university that offers the VIA program. So the first and primary thing I would say is the experiential learning. Now, experiential learning is one of the things that really define us. And apart from that, our curriculum and the method in which we deliver the course, that is again very different from what any other university offers. This will be taken on and described more in detail by Shubhi. And then we talk about consultancy, research, and our projects that happen here. Then we move on to the collaborations that make us excel in what we do, really feed into our program, the international and the national collaborations. Then we move on to the student perspective from Tanushri. And I'll wrap it up with a small collection of images that I really wish to show here that really takes us on this journey. So I'll start off with what we mean by experiential learning, actually. Experiential learning is a philosophy that came about from the educationist philosophers. You had John Dewey, you had Gardner, you had Diamond, who talked about various theories, constructivist theories, which say that learning happens and the student engagement happens when they are able to, you can relate to the, all the senses, or, stimulate them through all the senses. So learning doesn't happen only in the classroom, so to say. We take them outdoors. One of our most cherished memories for most of our students is the fourth semester rural documentation that we do. And rural documentation essentially is the design studio blends with the documentation studio. So we feel it's very important. We are located in Karnataka, which is so rich in its heritage and its vernacular styles. So when a student is investing 5 years of their time with us, I feel it is very important that we give them a complete understanding of the environment that they are in. So we take them, we identify a settlement or a village that is typical of the construction techniques of that area. And this again relates back to the culture and the climate of the place. Why does a certain vernacular architecture in Karnataka have sloped roofs? Why do some regions have flat roofs? Why do some regions have mud walls? Why do some regions have stone walls? Why do some the spatial planning depend on the occupation of the family that is living there? So we identified such villages and settlements, and we take the students there and immerse them. So they go with no prior feel of what they're going to into. So you kind of shock them into an environment, and then they just imbibe. So this happens at the start of the studio. Before even telling them what they're supposed to be doing, we take them there and they just imbibe, they absorb, they interact, they use their language skills, they use their people skills. They understand how, people who have very less, they are living their lives. Because, when we get students from urban scenarios in a city like Bangalore, or if they come from Mumbai, or they're coming from Chennai, they do not understand this way of living in villages and settlements. So this is a huge eye opener for them. At the same time, we are able to bring in concurrent learning, the learning that happens in their building construction initial foundation years, where they've talked about masonry, different kind of masonry, different kind of pitch roofs. What are the kind of trusses? Traditionally, we learn about a lot of trusses that straight away come from your Mekke. But in the Indian scenarios, how have they adapted the Queen Post Trust? What happens to that trust in the local context? So the building construction knowledge that they know comes over there into concurrently into the course. The climatology knowledge, they just feel the temperature difference between inside the house to outdoor in a hot, humid area like Udupi region. You're sitting inside and doing a documentation study of a 100-year-old house, which has a slope roof and, tiling, and the walls are of a certain thickness. So that has kept the temperature in a comfortable way for you inside. So climatology is just all taught over there all at once. How do eaves have a role to play to prevent thermal heat gain and so on and so forth. So this rural documentation studio is one such example where experiential learning really happens. And we also have various other ways of bringing in this component into them. The site visits that happen. So Divyashri, as I said, has numerous projects of varying scales that are there in and around Bangalore. You can uh, show them curtain glazing that's happening in one of their SEZs. You can show them some complex large span trusses that are happening in another project. You can show them housing projects. You can show services that are integrated into there is commercial projects. So everywhere, every opportunity that we get, our students are taken to the site. They are given a tour by the project manager who shows them how sequentially things happen at large sites. And then they come back, and then the learning becomes very easy when the theory is taught by the studio teachers. And this is another experience where you really come across experiential learning. So learning, you stimulate their sense of smell, your sense of touch, the sense of visually you stimulate them. So once you've done that, then the job is very easy. For example, when we were doing the history trip to North India, to Jaipur, Delhi, and Chandigarh, it was so easy to talk about the Islamic elements over there in all the mosques and their heritage sites. So when we came back, the learning became extremely easy. So experiential learning is one of our unique markers, I would say, that really makes our students view things very differently. Now, yeah.
If I can ask you a question at this point of time, I mean, it's amazing to have the experiential learning like what you mentioned, because I think being part of the Divyashri group, they have tremendous projects going on all across, and they would have projects of various types, right? They would have a range of projects. So what are the kinds of projects that they have and your students get exposed to?
Yeah, so I did mention that they do SEZs, large SEZs, where the office spaces are designed, and then along with office spaces, obviously you would have food courts and a lot of the other common facilities. And such structures are normally worked out, in the structural system is in place through column and beam and slabs, and then your external wall and facades become free of the structure. So they really can get to see a curtain glazing and joinery details and all of that in such projects. Then Divyashri has villa projects, housing and apartment coming together in one gated community kind of a thing. So there again, they look at it, they get to see the planning, the spatial planning that is there in their units, and the kind of services integration that happens. All their projects, they are extremely conscious about making it net zero as much as possible. So everything is recovered, your rainwater harvesting, the sewage treatment plant, everything that they get to see. And even the way the ducts are done, fire safety norms that are followed. So all of the services gets taken care in such projects.
Right. So if you're talking about if you're talking about an SEZ, so that means the overall land area would be massive. So what's the kind of scale of that?
Yeah, it does kind of overwhelm the students sometimes because they are expecting to see a small office block, and then when they go there, but the whole atmosphere is extremely important for them to understand, because they feel that, okay, as an architect, this is the scope of work that I may get at some point. So that's very important. Yeah.
Right. Amazing. All right. You can continue. I just got curious in between. Go ahead.
All right. So I'll hand it over to Shubhi to talk a little more about curriculum and how the pedagogy is different at our school. Over to you, Shubhi.
Yeah, thank you, Vidya ma'am. I hope I'm audible to everybody here. I'm Dr. Shubhi Sonal. I'm an associate professor at School of Architecture, REVA University. I'll be touching upon the curriculum that we have designed at our School of Architecture. Now, architecture is a course that started way back in 1952 in India, and sadly to say, the curriculum in most colleges across India remains static. So the same courses that were probably started way back in 1950s are being taught everywhere in most of the universities. At REVA, we have taken the initiative to actually look at a curriculum which is more aligned with the current trends, a curriculum which is, which talks to you about the current requirements in the market, the needs of the clients, and also the new technologies that are currently available to us. So we have come up with a curriculum which we have termed it as a dynamic curriculum. It is dynamic because we keep updating it every year. We have a unique board of studies which gets together, discusses, talks about what all is required to be updated in the curriculum, what is it that the students of this generation need, and how can we cater to that in our curriculum. We have looked at integrating certain conventional subjects and coming up with combination courses which give a more of a practical orientation to our students. So rather than studying subjects in isolation, where I feel knowledge gets lost. So we have subjects like basic design and visual arts, we have structural systems and building construction, we have architecture representation. These are some of the courses that we have come up with where you will find that learning happens much more easily because there is integration of the content across various disciplines. We look at building skills in our students. In our curriculum, apart from the regular courses, the credited courses, we also give a lot of weightage to skill development courses. These are skills such as it could be as simple as drawing skills, photography skills, model making skills. And then as we rise up the semesters, we are looking at very, very unique and very much in demand software skills. So we offer these short-term 3 to 4 day skill-based programs for our students, which is apart from the regular curriculum. And our students not only earn extra certificates, many of the times they also earn credits, which add up to their overall credit bank. So this is something which is very, very unique about REVA University. Coming to the elephant in the room, I think everybody is scared of theory courses. Theory courses such as history of architecture, site survey, and planning. These are the courses which I have traditionally seen they pull down the students. Students never want to sit for a theory class. We have a very unique approach to such theory courses at REVA, where even such mundane courses such as history of architecture, theory of architecture are brought to life through on-site exploration. So we try to take our classes outside, we go out to monuments, we try to make sure that, these theory courses come alive in front of the students. And this is an idea which is reflected even in the way we evaluate and conduct our examinations. So we've tried to move away from the typical rote learning system where you mug up the answers and you just write it down. So learning is not through memory, learning here is through experience. And our examination system allows us to go for Viva based, portfolio based, sheet based evaluation, whereby students get a much deeper understanding and they also get an opportunity to go a little bit more deeper in the topics of their choice for such theory courses. Apart from that, as students move higher up the semesters, we give them a lot of option to differentiate themselves. That is, to be able to choose their own path. We offer electives starting from the third semester itself. At third semester level, we have something called REVA Unique Learning Opportunities called the RULO courses, which is sort of a combination of life skills as well as opportunities for relaxation and release for the students, because we offer courses such as music and dance, theater, sports. And let me tell you that all of these are courses which are offered by full-fledged departments and schools from within REVA University itself. So we have opportunities whereby students can go pick up skills apart from the regular architecture curriculum. As they go up, we have electives such as graphic design, product design, interior design, digital architecture, advanced building materials. And I must say that these are courses about which students are really excited in, and there's always a beeline as to who will opt for which elective. Taking this whole concept of having freedom to choose your path further, we introduced something called as self-directed learning, or the SDL. This is a 2-credit 7-semester course where students are allowed to choose for themselves how they want to earn their 2 credits. It could be through doing a design competition. It could be through doing a community-based project. It could be through doing a research and publishing a paper. It could be through designing a product and filing for a patent. So this is the kind of freedom that I'm talking about. Also, not to forget, we have a whole lot of online learning integrated in our curriculum, whereby students can pick up courses from NPTEL or Coursera or other online platforms, whereby they not only gain knowledge but also earn an additional certificate from the IITs or from international universities. So that is something really, really unique, whereby our curriculum allows them, gives them not only the time but also credits for picking up on these. Finally, of course, architectural design is, our main stream, and that is where we try to make sure that students really revel in that experience of the design studio. We try to take live sites, live projects as much as possible. We have taken up competition projects whereby the entire studio has worked on competition projects and have come up with extremely good results, and have even won awards based on these competitions. Lately, we have also started with a collaborative studio whereby our school is one of the 10 schools participating in a collaborative hospital design studio being conducted by Ethos ASH. And this whole experience is being guided by a Canadian architect who's a specialist in hospitality facilities planning. So apart from this, of course, every design studio means you're out on the site, you go out for case studies, you go out to experience the site, and we sort of try to add to the learning by calling in experts such as guest lecturers and architects from practice from the field, so that they can give their suggestions and they can evaluate what the students are doing, and students are able to come up with very well-rounded view of design as they progress through the semesters. Another unique approach that we have is of introducing the whole idea of research right in the undergraduate level. So we have a subject called architectural research writing, which we fondly call ARW. This gives students an opportunity to carry out a small mini research project and present a public seminar, followed by an opportunity to publish a paper in a journal or a conference. So one of the most unique add-ons here is that the student is able to add to their CV one published work even before they graduate out of school, which I feel is a big, big add-on for our students. It definitely helps them build confidence and add on to their profiles once they think of applying for a master's or going for higher studies. So these are some of the points. Needless to say, we are very well equipped with the latest software, including softwares such as Design Builder, NVMet, which are very, very unique to our city as well. I think we are one of the very few colleges which have these softwares available, apart from the regular Revit, Photoshop, Lumion, and other visualization softwares. So we have regular classes for these. Apart from that, we have in-depth training programs so as to make sure that our graduates are absolutely ready to come into the industry. So over to you, Vidya ma'am.
All right. I probably have a question at this stage. All right. Um, so you'll have, being REVA University itself, you'll have the ability to decide on the curriculum and how it's delivered. Uh, but doesn't the COA structure the curriculum to y'all, and what flexibility is given to y'all as a university? Just some clarity on that. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Our BR course comes under the purview of the Council of Architecture, New Delhi. Council of Architecture gives regulatory guidelines, And I'm glad to share that the guidelines give us enough freedom to put in courses which are contemporary in nature, to put in courses which are more keeping with the times. So yes, they specify, it is like a guideline, but finally the exact layout of courses, the credit structuring, and the ability to bring in further new courses apart from the already mentioned courses, that is definitely up to the university. So we have taken up that liberty and we've actively worked on that. And I think the results are here to see now.
All right. So then, there's a regular question that I get a lot get a lot from parents who say, okay, there's there are schools associated with the common university, maybe like VTU, and then there are the schools that have their own university. So what is the difference between the two structures, and why would you think that the REVA structure would be better than the schools associated with the common university?
Well, Dion, I think I don't want to comment about other universities. I just want to comment about REVA. We have explored the freedom that we have to come up with a very, very contemporary and updated curriculum. We decide our own pedagogy, a pedagogy which we feel is absolutely necessary to experience architecture, and in order to teach it in a way that it is not limited to just theories sitting in the classroom. So that becomes our USP. Others are welcome to, follow us.
Sure.
Yeah. On that note, Dion, I'd like to say, although we say that we are our own university and the curriculum and the delivery is decided by us, it also puts the onus on us to constantly strive for that excellence. There is nobody else monitoring us. It becomes self-monitory, So that is more hard than somebody else trying to say, have you met all these parameters that you need to be? Because here we push the boundaries and we meet more than what is necessary because we have set the bar high for ourselves.
All right. Good. 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 Very interesting. All right, madam. Over to you, and to carry on to the next
All
part.
right. Yeah. So should be touched upon the syllabus and what is special about our curriculum. I'd like to touch upon the other part of it, which is very, very important for an architect, which is being able to take on independent projects and execute them. So what we call as consultancy. So we have our own consultancy cell. We have faculty members actively working within the time that they are here and beyond, and we take on projects such as residence designs, office interiors, institutional interiors. Currently, we are doing the interior work for some of the new upcoming schools within the campus. So, here again, we are able to bring in the students and show them, what happens when something is designed on paper. And then when you go to site, it's not really the same. The conditions change. Sometimes, the slab is not cast the same way that you expect. So how do you take, immediate decisions on site to correct the issues? So this immediately we're able to do, and at every stage we're able to take our students. So the consultancy cell, we want to grow that to a level where we ourselves are able to offer institutional internships, because many times students try to find internships outside, but we will be in a position to offer these internships within our school itself in a short while, because looking at the projects and the encouragement that we are getting. And the other aspect I would like to emphasize is, should we talk about having an elective called product design. So this comes in the 10th semester. It's offered along with another elective called architectural journalism. And we have faculty members who are specialists in product design. The masters they have done in product design. So this wonderful combination of doing an undergraduate degree in architecture, where you're looking at a larger picture, and then focusing more into product design, where you're going in for detail, and more detail. It gives a certain edge to the student who is a student of architecture, but that one semester where they're able to get into something really, really small and work it out to the last detail. It's a great opportunity. And these can be taken up for patenting and product formulation with the support of our UIIC interaction cell that we have at the university level, where right from third semester level, the students are given, this idea of what is IPR, what is intellectual property right. It is your idea. So how do you take control of that idea and take it to fruition, in terms of a design, in terms of a product. So this is something that's just moving forward really, really well at our school. Our students are getting an opportunity to understand IPR and go forward with filing of copyrights and patents. We have started with copyrights essentially of compositions that they've written, poetry that they've done, artwork that they've done. Our faculty members and students have filed a few copyrights. We recently filed a copyright for the documentation that we had done on the rural documentation trip at Moseleni and Hassan, and it's been copyrighted. So it's a wonderful way that the end product or the end goal that drives the student is very different. On a same note, even when a design project is introduced, right, from the first semester or second semester, where you tell them try to do a cafe design, try to introduce a pod design. So when they've been given this encouragement that your unique idea can be patented, then the end goal is rather different. How much of effort they would put in is very different from just saying it's going to remain on paper. So that is a wonderful trade-off for the students that we get here. And another thing that we take very seriously at School of Architecture is this: how do you engage with the community? It started off very small in 2017, where we said, let's take our students and go to the nearest government school and do a session with them. Let's teach them origami. Let's do a little clay workshop with them. And the happiness that the students experienced, it made us think that why not make this into something larger. And along the same lines, at the university level, we got the mandate that every school has to adopt a government school, and work with them. So we have adopted a government school at Jaligate. It's a small primary school. And when we took our students there, they immediately came back saying, ma'am, those students have no place where they can eat their lunch, no covered space. Can we do something? So there was a room where, the walls had broken and the roof had collapsed. So now, as part of this self-directed learning that the 7th semester students are undergoing, they have come up with an alternative building technology to cover the roof, use the debris material to construct the wall, and give the children a space to eat lunch and have a little play area. So this, we want to take it up now, and hopefully within 6 months or so this should be up and running. And it's going to be, once the children have given the design and seen what they could do at a small level in a government primary school, it's going to make them give back to society lifelong. That is what we want our children to have, that it's not just you don't exist alone in this world. You need to relate to your environment, you need to be rooted in context. So this community engagement and social causes that we ask the students to get involved in, I think that is really something that we do differently, and I'm really proud of the work that our school has done in this area. Now I'd like Shubhi to talk a little bit about our collaborations.
Right. But on that note, I think it's a very important aspect to bring out, that you are not only giving the opportunity to students for research and filing of patents and all that, but also going back to the community and trying to serve the community and build a larger goal and a picture. I'm sure that the students are really appreciating this, but what does it do to your students from a personality perspective? How does it help their personality grow? Probably a question that I'd like to ask, because this is something you would kind of know that and expect from a director level, but a student who's going through this may not understand what they're going through, but you would probably have a better idea of that.
Yeah, I can certainly answer that, but since we have a student with us here, Tanushri, would you like to say how you connect with community through such projects?
Yes, ma'am. When we were in our fourth semester, we actually had a trip to this government school that we had adopted, and it was quite a funny experience because when we got there, none of the students were there. And we had called them back to school. I think they were on their break. We called them back to school and we spoke to them, and we had a clay modeling workshop. We taught them a little bit of clay modeling. We sat with the students and did the clay modeling. We also taught them yoga and a little bit of music. And all of this was faculty as well as students. So it was our entire batch as well as the faculty members who were all interacting with these students. And I think one of the things about these kind of experiences is that we really get to grow as individuals. Like I remember when we all came into college, none of us spoke to each other, none of us like bothered about interacting. We were like, let's just stick to ourselves. But with these kind of experiences and these kind of community experiences, we get to grow as people, and we get to grow as a community and strengthen our bonds with classmates.
That's a very interesting perspective when you say not only the community but strengthen the bond with the classmates. That's a very interesting perspective that I got from this. Thanks for that, Tanush. It's a very interesting direction you brought out from there. And madam, I think this is amazing that you know what, I initially asked you the question thinking that you had something to for the students, but the students are realizing that themselves. So that's an interesting twist
Yeah.
to the tale.
You know, Dion, teenagers are very intuitive. The less you feed into their mind, the more they absorb, you know. You should
Right.
just stay back and not do too much.
Absolutely. Sounds very interesting. Right. Yeah. So the next aspect was the collaboration you were speaking about. Yeah.
So I would like to just highlight some of the national and international collaborations that we have at our School of Architecture, REVA University. We have MOUs, that is Memorandums of Understanding, with the ETSAB School of Architecture, Barcelona, with UC Berkeley, with Liverpool John Moores University, UK, with Salford University, UK. And at the national level, we also work very closely with organizations such as Center for Science and Environment, INTAC, Ethos, and TERI. So using all of these resources, we've been able to garner a lot of, inputs for our students and also for our events. For example, when we had our Between the Lines International Conference, we had a collaboration with CSC, Center for Science and Environment, and we had a very active panel discussion and lecture sessions from experts from that organization as well. A large number of international architects and academicians have visited our school as well as given expert lectures. That would include architects such as architect Palinda from Sri Lanka, architect Tony Ovens, architect Kuang Gui Peng, a professor from Taiwan, Philippe Cassen, Ico Proboto, Juan Carlos, and so on. We try to keep our semester very active with these kind of lectures. They sort of give our students a different perspective, a different exposure, which of course supplements whatever we are doing here for them. Apart from that, of course, I did mention the collaborative studio, whereby we are working along with 10 other colleges across India, and we are being guided by architect Martin Fist, who is a healthcare facilities expert from Montreal in Canada. Coming to the most interesting and I think the most fun part is the international trips that we've had just before the pandemic forced us all to sit at home. We've had trips to France, Spain, Netherlands, Belgium, apart from, of course, trying to cover each and every part of India. We've had a very, very interesting lively workshop called Step by Step Barcelona, which was organized for our students by the ETSAB Polytechnic in Barcelona. They hosted our students for 5 days, organized the workshop, and our students not only enjoyed that entire experience, but also earned a certificate from the International University. We look forward to hosting students from international universities from both Barcelona as well as our partners from UK next year for our Virasat program, whereby these students will be coming down to India, and we will hopefully have collaborative sessions where our students and the international students can work together on some studio projects apart from I think we're all looking forward to the opportunity of showing around our country and our heritage to these students. So very, very excited for that. So that's all about the collaborations that we've had and what are in the pipeline from REVA University. I think we've exhausted most of our time here. I would now like Tanushree, our student representative here, to share some of her experiences at School of Architecture, REVA University. Over to you, Tanushree.
Thank you, Shubhi ma'am. First of all, I'd like to say good evening to everyone present here today. I'm sure that the tensions of joining college must be high, and I hope to put everyone at a little bit of ease with the student perspective of REVA University. So I joined REVA University in 2019 August for my first year, and I am now in my third year. So when people say time flies, it really goes much quicker when you're an architecture student. Despite losing a little bit of time during the lockdown, I think in case of opportunities and learning experiences, we never stopped having any of those to grow or excel. And the activities are endless, to say the least. I mean, as soon as we had joined college, our batch had joined college, we had a talk series, which was a 2-day event. And there were national as well as international architects, renowned architects, who came to speak about several different topics ranging from sustainable architecture to each architect's individual style. And aside from this, there's also many minor events put up by different clubs and different councils, where one of the schools in REVA University who have a student council, and the student council acts as a sort of mediator between the faculty and the students. And I've been lucky enough to be a part of the student council for the last semester. And what we do is, as individual clubs, we put up events weekly or even monthly for students of all different areas. So there could be literary events or cultural events, even sports events. So there's a little bit of something for everybody. Aside from this, there's always the skill development courses that our teachers had mentioned. And of course, the trips, which is, I think, the best part of architecture, to be completely frank. I've always had many friends in other streams tell me, wow, you're so lucky to be an architecture student. You get to go on trips so often. And of course, these are like learning experiences, and it's not always fun and games, but just the experience itself is a blast and such a growing opportunity. One of the major trips we had was in our fourth semester, last semester, where we visited a small village in Karnataka known as Mosale. And this is where we had done our rural documentation project. And the documentation project itself was such a success, with the official video of the project being copyrighted in the name of one of our students. And something that governs all of what we do is NASA, which is the National Association for Students of Architecture. And once again, there are so many events surrounding it, competitions surrounding it, which give us so many opportunities to participate. And if not win, we always learn and grow. And at the end of the day, it's always going to look good on a CV. Like everything mentioned earlier, the skill development courses, the software, the clubs, the journals. I've also been a student who's been lucky enough to have a journal published in my third semester with two other students from my batch, Abhirami and Aishwarya. And doing that in the third semester level is quite a feat. And this, along with the student council and clubs, always looks good on a resume. And I think one of the best things about college life in REVA, which I find to be very rare, is that at some point of time, it really does start to become like one big family, like the faculty, the students, everyone. It's one large community and one big family. And that's something that I think everyone here is grateful for, because more than anything, we have unity and we have a small but strong REVA family. So thank you so much. And I would like to hand it over to Shubhi ma'am once again. Thank you, ma'am.
So if I may share a small, Dion, if you can enable me to share my screen, it's
Yes,
just
allowed, allowed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you see my screen? Is my
Visible.
screen visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, yeah. So it's just a collection of images I wish to leave the students with. So I call it's the moments that make the journey. So here's an image of all the journals that the students came up with once their trip was over to the North India, that is Delhi, Agra, and Chandigarh that we did. A big moment for many of the students. It was the first time on an airplane for many of them, and this is early morning, 5 a.m. at on an Indigo flight to Delhi. This is 9 a.m. at Qutub Minar complex, where suddenly from the blissful climate of Bangalore, they were transported to the hot and hotter Delhi, and they all really look like they're all done. This is roaming on the streets of Chandni Chowk. We don't leave any opportunity unturned or unexplored. So it was a wonderful finish to the day where we had seen the Delhi fort and then had lunch at the famous place at Chandni Chowk in Paryati Wali Gully. And here's the girls on the back of a rickshaw, a journey that they've never ever undertaken in their life before. And as I said, the world is our classroom. We take our kids outside to the wonderful facilities. And this was a exercise where they had to ideate through using the theory of multiple intelligences, which is essentially says to create or to design, if you're using one part of the brain, the music, dance, or theater or art helps you to do that. So the skill comes out through various ways. So this was the point of the exercise here. This is another rural documentation that we did at a place called Aretipur, where these students have first time rode on a bullock cart, and it was an experience that they'll never forget. We do work too. It's not just always fun. So that's the translation of the rural documentation work that happened. You see the panels filled with all the drawings and the jury members looking at it. And again, instead of just making them come into a studio or a classroom to view the sheets, we took the work outside onto the open, and everybody from other schools also were walking in and curious to see what was all these panels about. So it was a rewarding experience for the students when the whole of the university came to see the work of the semester. This is again learning outside the classroom that we call it. This was a session on heritage of Harsur region. This was a talk on temple architecture, right where it all began, the Ganga period and Chola period temple, the Harsuru temple at over here in Bangalore. And they talked, we were able to show them what are the features or elements of a Hindu temple. And she talked about the history. She talked about community engagement, how the entire people of Alsur come together for the festivals that happen with the Jatre. So this is one of that. And here, this is second semester students learning about forces, the different forces, compression, tension, what is push, what is pull, and really looking at it in the outdoors rather than, just drawing on the board and the structures, faculty talking about it. Here they understand what it means. As I said, we do take up social causes. This was a thing we put up for Save Water in the Kattaganahalli region, where we talked to people about rainwater harvesting, recharge, and the students had great time putting up street plays and dances as we, walked all over the streets in Kattaganahalli. This is the community engagement where I talked about them doing a origami workshop, origami session with the children, and look at the joy on their faces, not just the school kids, but look at our kids, how happy they are with the day that they've spent with the young ones. And this is part of the studio getting converted into a lunchroom. This was part of an interesting course called Vernacular Architecture that we offer. And I told the students, listen, it's all about ethnicity. It's all about recognizing your roots. So each of you bring a dish that's close to your heart, or what your mother cooks or your grandmother cooks, and let's all share it in the studio. So we had a full plantain leaf session where the children themselves served, and they served all the faculty members, and finally they ate. So I was able to grab a picture of the students eating at the end of the day. We also eat at various other places. This is the students turning into servers at Udupi, one of the temple, the documentation trips where the locals served a meal and gave it to us, and everyone ate at the temple premises. So you never know where your next meal comes from. So this was one of those instances. This is the studio life, getting on all fours and literally lying over your sheets to do work. Sometimes we do that. And we do work with soap in various other ways, not just for washing your clothes, which I'm sure no teenager likes to do. But yeah, here we are trying out timber joinery details through soap. So that's one of the sessions happening at the studio. And this was celebrating Ethnic Day, where you see our youngsters dressed in, ethnic wear, and at the background is the sheets that they worked on when they went to the Hospet region where they did a documentation study. So yeah, that's all from my end. I just wanted to leave the young students here with some moments of all the fun that we have while we are doing this journey of architecture. Yeah, thank you.
All right. So fantastic, very interesting. I think very interesting experiences that the students are getting. I mean, and it's a diverse range of experiences that you're giving them, which is very interesting. Okay. There's a question from Balaji S, who's asking about placements. How does placements work?
Right. Yeah. So at the university level, we have a central placement cell. And of course, all these streams, the students get in their data there, and then the companies are called for campus interviews. Architecture is still in its nascent stage, where large companies do not come to recruit en masse because the needs are small. But having said that, we are working with the CDC, and in the years to come, when there are more and more companies that want to recruit a large number of students, then it's going to become a possibility, and we have all the support in place. Apart from just placing you in companies, what we do very well is support them through talks on entrepreneurship. We tell them how you can start your own office, and many of our students have already done that. The two batches that have passed, the first batch has started, few of them have started their own offices. So we teach them how to run an office, entrepreneurship skills. So that is another aspect of finding your footing. So yes, placements, the traditional placements through companies, as well as support in starting your firm. That is very much there at REVA. It's all well in place.
I think being an architect is being very entrepreneurial. So the platform is very important that they understand this, because a lot of parents come and ask us, how the placements at this school and that school. But I think that I'm not sure if I'm right on this, if I can compare being an architect with being a doctor, because they are professional programs, right? You learn from experience, and then
Right.
nobody asks a doctor, or where will you get placed after you finish, right? Because it's all about the experience. And I think it's a similar situation for an architect as well.
Exactly. Yes, yes. So we do start small. It's not that our students get the same kind of a packages, so to say, that an IT professional get. But what I would like to say as a message is, although we start small, we have terrific job satisfaction, and we have a very long career. It's not like people who make a lot of money initially get a burnout and then they don't know what to do. But we start slow, we build our base, we build our contacts, and we can have a very long career. There are architects who work up to 70, 75, and they've not stopped working. And then the more experience that you get, then is where the money starts coming in. So yes, it is slow. I'm not saying that we get fantastic packages, but it's very, very rewarding. And you can pick up at any point that you leave off. Unlike the rat race, or the constant pressure that you feel in other jobs, it's not like that. You can take a break, you can do a master's, you can come back, you can get absorbed in an office, then you can start on your own, and that's how it goes on for architecture. Yeah.
Right. I've also seen the diversity in the career of an architect, meaning I've seen architects work on journalism, which is, I'm bringing this up because you said they have an elective on journalism, right? And I've seen architects working in journalism, architects working in the video game industry and, software industry. So there are way more options than we perceive them to be. So what are the possible options, career options that architects actually get into?
Yeah, what you said is absolutely right, Dion. Architecture now has become like a launch course. It just gives you a different perspective. It teaches you creativity, it teaches you critical thinking, but then that's just the start point. So many students move on to do industrial design, automobile design, product design, or get into journalism, conservation, of course, and then planning. That is also an avenue that's open to architects. So it's a start point. It's not really the end. So a
Yeah,
lot of opportunities ahead. You can get into filmmaking. You can get into set design. And these are all formal courses now being offered by NIDs and many.
right. I think we're losing architect Vidya Shrikant. But yeah, but I think building up on that, the options are tremendous. I mean, if I look at Umesh Kumar, who's the founder of DQ Lab, so he himself was an architect, worked as an architect for 3 years, and then got into industrial design and designed automobiles. So he was designing Jaguar Land Rover cars, and then went on. Currently he designs education, how education needs to be delivered, right? So that versatility in career is a very interesting skill set that comes. uh, it's a very interesting skill set that comes with the uh, career, and it really gives the opportunity uh, for one to carve their own path. I think that is something that Umesh has done, and he's won awards at multiple levels. So I'm not sure whether I got disconnected or whether uh, everyone else got disconnected, but I think there was some disturbance. So
Yeah, sorry, Dion. I think my internet crashed, so I just streaming now from my phone. Yeah, I'm back again. Yeah.
all right, all right. Yeah, so that's good. So um, we've got the last 3 minutes left for this. So what I was saying is that I was giving examples of diversity um, in the career of an architect, and really I think what an architect is prepared for is for change, right? At any point of time, environments change, businesses change, directions change. They are capable of handling that change, and I think that is one of the most critical things or skills that an architect can adapt to.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. So I'm not getting more questions. If anyone has questions to ask, please do now, because we have the last couple of minutes left, and you all can ask your questions now. But overall, fantastic. I think the conversation has been brilliant. Um, we've taken the conversation right from your structure of learning, which is the experiential learning aspect, how your curriculum has been formulated and how it's being delivered, uh, the opportunities for your students to take part in consultancy, in research, in presenting that research, and also having the gaining the skills for copywriting their work or filing for IPRs, and then getting into
It's okay, fine. I mean, if it's closing or else I'll pitch in. Yeah, fine.
getting into the collaborative learning, where y'all are collaborating with institutes and organizations within India and abroad, and now y'all are inviting people from abroad to India. So that seems to be a nice platform. And also the overall student experience. So fantastic. range of discussion we've had here. Um, there's a question from Dia Upadhyaya, uh, who is asking, are there any campus interviews conducted in your college?
Yes, of course. Yeah, we do have campus interviews for the students of the pre-final and the final semester, the pre-final year and the final year, where they give their intention, whether they want to get into placements or they rather look for entrepreneurship, they want to start on their own or they want to go for higher studies. So we focus differently on getting to know their choice. So once it's campus interviews, then we give the list of offices where our students have already interned, so they know about the quality of the work that the students do. And then the offices are called to campus, and then the campus interview happens. If it is higher studies, we support with that. We give them the required documents, the letter of recommendations based on what is it that they want to do. Or if it's starting on their own, then yes, we do give them the platform to talk to and then they give their details onto their website saying they've started a firm of their own and things like that. Yeah.
All right, thanks so much.
Yeah. So
Mr. Swami, if there's anything you'd like to add from an academic, from the admission process. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dion. Thank you so much, Professor Vidya. Admissions at REVA University is very straight and seamless. I mean, the eligibility is very simple. As everybody know about this, I mean, so just pass in PUC or 10+2, or 10+2 along with diploma in mathematics. And NATA is mandatory. So, and Dion, we also get students from various sources. I mean, we have CET intakes as well as COMET intakes. So total intake at REVA University for BArch is 80. In that, we have allotted 38 seats for CET and 16 under COMET K. And the rest 32, the other balance 32 is towards management quota. So we do have seats under management quota. So admissions are open, in fact, and the process is very simple. Students have to just log on to our website. Leon, can I share the screen?
Yes, you can. You can.
Yeah. So the process is very simple. Students can just log on to our website. Our website is www.reva.edu.in. They can go to admissions and select undergraduate. Under that, they can scroll down to Bachelor's of Architecture and they can check the eligibility overview, curriculum, what we offer, and they can fill in the application. Application form is just 1,000 rupees and it's a 5-year program. And we do have scholarship for meritorious students. So that can be discussed once students walk into our campus. Our admissions office is open around the year between 8:30 to 4:30. They can walk in and they can have a look at our campus. We'll arrange for a faculty visit, school visit, and based on that, they can decide. So we have got limited seats. So I'll say hurry up and have a look at REVA before we finalize.
Okay, right, sir. So thank you so much, Mr. Swami. I mean, I'm sure it's a very interesting webinar. It's an interesting campus. I've been to the campus myself. You know what? I think that open space right from the beginning through all right till the end. I think that's something which is very unique. I've hardly seen that in any other campuses. I think it's a beautiful campus to visit, and I do think that students should at least visit and then kind of get a feel of what they're getting into. Yeah. Right. So one last question: is EMARC offered in your college? Which is a question from Dia.
Yeah, I'll answer that. Dion, EMARC is on the anvil. We have put together a very unique program that's not offered anywhere else in Karnataka. It's a master's in environmental architecture. So it touches upon the software part where they learn to know all the tools as well as learning from the past, learning from vernacular, learning from alternate technologies. So it's a very interesting program. We are awaiting the approval from Council of Architecture. Once that comes through, we will be starting very soon. Yeah.
All right. So I think thanks so much to Architect Vidya Shrikant, to Professor Sanjeev, to Shubhi Madam, uh, Tanushri Menon, and Mr. Swami. It's been a very interesting session. I think I was quite enamored by what y'all are doing for your students and the platform that y'all are giving to your students. So I do think it's a brilliant platform, and hopefully, students come and visit, and at least get that experience of what it is to be there actually. Um, right. So once again, in case of anyone wants to, they can go on to DQ Edge. In the colleges, uh, you could click on the listing of REVA University School of Architecture and click on that inquire button like I showed you earlier. I'm just going to show that to you again. Maybe let me share my screen so that what happens is you reach out to, so all you need to do is go to this particular link. I'm going to share that in the group. You've got a little bit of description here about the school, and then you can click on this inquire button. If you've not logged in, it'll ask you to log in, and you'll reach out directly to the team of Mr. Swami. So that's how you would probably connect with them, and Mr. Swami's team could get in touch with you guys after that. All right. So all the best to the students here. We hope you've done well in your NATA, and you get a scholarship at REVA University. All right. Okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Dion, for giving us the opportunity, and I wish all the students all the very best. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Dion. Thank you, team. Bye.